Alrighty, welcome back. I am starting something new. I'm going to do this on Thursdays only, and that is I'm going to set up the debriefing room. From a historical standpoint, roleplay games for me have always been a major communications nexus. That anything that came up in a game session would be fodder for conversations thereafter. And this, of course, started early on with the idea of what now are called Memberberries, the idea that you are playing along and something happens in a game that reminds you of something that happened in a previous situation that made you laugh or smile or concerned you. And so you draw attention, hey, guys, remember when we fought this or that at the and it was such a Tanagra where the walls fight came down. The idea that you could drift off of storyline by reminiscing. And so early on, I found that to be particularly frustrating in story for gamers to kick down a gear and disengage from the current story to go chasing after these reminiscences. And so I established pretty early on the concept that we would debrief after the game session, that if you had one of these Memberberries hit you and you wanted to talk about it, you would basically put a pin in it, write down on your sheet there, your notes there, that there was something you want to talk about at the debriefing, and then we would address that as a collective in that secondary period, the debriefing. Having said that, therefore, the idea of having a place and a time to decompress after a long series of adventures or whatever, the idea here of having the debriefing room available and setting it up particularly for all of the adventures in the worlds of Nycos made sense to me. And so while my adventuring allies are operating on basically Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then our Wednesday events are not directly related to the games sessions themselves. So having a place and time for a debriefing is kind of important. And what I'm going to ask my players to do in each session is to send me notes in our chat channels of things they want brought up during the debriefing, whether or not they can be here, because conversation is generally desirable in a two-way conforming fashion. And the thing that's interesting is that by dealing with the realm of Nycos the way I have, and the iterations and the transitions of information from one time frame to another, it made me realize that that two-way communication doesn't have to be contemporaneous. What I mean by that is, if you are a player in my Strangers in the Strange Land group on Monday nights at the game store, or if you're a member of the Skiffborn crew on the Tuesday night game, you can post information into the debriefing that I will bring up, I will discuss, and give responses to. And I'll be perhaps a little bit more candid than I would be at the table, thereby perhaps providing some additional Easter egg and fodder for adventure talk when we do get back together. That also applies with my online game sessions, which are fundamentally those that are supported by our Patreon program, which is the Voyages of the Arcana and the Heralds of the Change. These two groups are supported by the Patreon program in particular, and players are generally those who are members of the Patreon program. So if you wanted to be a part of those games groups, all you need to do is back the Patreon program at any level, and you will be given an invite to become a part of that Discord and those channels in particular, and become a participant and a player in those games. Having said that, the debriefing as set up is really to have a decompression session and to talk about what you as players may want to talk about. So I'm setting this up with the concept here of anyone who is a citizen of Nycos. Whether you're playing past, present, or future, whether you have played, may want to play in the future, or are currently a member, what do you want to talk about? Let me know in the debriefing room notes, either in the chat channel here or in the comments section. And even I'm going to be posting this as well on the Patreon. So if you are a member of the Patreon program and would like to have things brought up and talked about, what are those things that are important to you? And I will take all questions, so you can consider this to be sort of an AMA, ask me anything, and I will respond to it using the debriefing format on Thursday nights. So this one's going to be relatively short. We started just a little bit after 12, and we're going to just end it here in a minute. But I just wanted you to know, if you are interested in gaining more information and you haven't checked out NycosRPG.info to get the lore dump, or gone to NycosRPG.com to learn about the property, feel free to do that. In the meantime, feel free to ask me anything through the briefing room shows on Thursday nights. I want to thank you again for being here and appreciate you very much. If you support the show, make sure you follow us and give us a like. We also have a NycosRPG is also a Facebook page, as well as the NycosRPG on YouTube. So have a great night, and I will